Welcome to day 3 of our 10 for 10 shiur series, and today we are finishing up on varying customs regarding weddings. But again, before we get into it, just checking in how everybody's managing, how everybody's doing. It's the first full day that we are closed here at the shul for services, and we had a virtual minyan last night, which was really wonderful. And yes, it's not the same, but it sort of signifies for me two things. One, how much the daily minyanim mean for so many people, and of course the ability to use technology and what we have at our disposal to still remain connected, spiritually remain connected, and to bring the spirit of our minyanim. So I'll be sending out another link today to join for our Mincha Mariv service tonight at 7:30 p.m. Interestingly, we're speaking about weddings, and in about an hour or so I'm going to be going off to officiate a wedding. Now, given the nature of what's happening around us and the social distancing, it's going to be a very small wedding outdoors, and I think it's a beautiful thing that the couple that is getting married wants to make sure they don't postpone it. They want to stand under the chuppah today, and I feel I have a big merit to be able to stand there with them this afternoon and to celebrate in times of uncertainty, in times of fear, in times of challenge, to bring some simcha. And we know there's a special edict in the Talmud or in Jewish literature that simcha poretz geder, joy can penetrate and break all boundaries, and hopefully the simcha of today will smash through all what is happening and bring back control, bring back the feeling of comfort, the feeling of being able to celebrate together, to be together, to pray together, to sing together, to have joy together. That should hopefully all return. So a few more customs that you will notice at a simcha, and that you will perhaps be wondering why we do certain things. And yesterday I ended off by saying that we were going to look at the circling of the bride around the groom. And it's another one of those special moments. The bride makes her way to the groom who's standing under the chuppah, and then she begins to circle around him. And I've seen, she does circle counterclockwise, and you do see some humorous things at times where the dress is too long and it gets tangled, and then sometimes you have a mother of the bride circling together, and I always make a joke, that you have your mother-in-law has now encircled you, and good luck. But it is a wonderful and special time. As I said yesterday, there are those who circle 3 times and those who circle 7 times. Now, those who circle 3 times, which is not as prevalent, certainly not here in Melbourne, in Australia, but one is that the Torah actually tells us 3 times, ki yikach ish et isha, when a man betroths or takes for himself a wife, when a man and woman get married, and it mentions it 3 times. So signifying the 3 times that the Torah discusses marriage. And it also says that a man and woman can become married in 3 ways. Bekesef, with giving an article of money; b'shtar, with a document; and being intimate with one another. So she circles to signify those 3 ways in which we can get married. Now, why 7? So herein lies so many different reasons, so many different ideas. 3 of them which I'd like to share. Firstly, we know that there are 7 emotional attributes, 7 emotional sfirot, parts of ourselves, which we relate to in the world to others, which are internal as well. For example, we have chesed, gevura, tiferet, netzach, hod, yasod, and malchut. Chesed being the attribute of kindness, gevura being that attribute of sternness or strictness or withholding. We have tiferet, which is almost the concept of harmony, bringing 2 opposing factors, if you like, and it takes almost the chesed and the gevura, 2 very important attributes. You need to have kindness, you need to be driven and led by kindness, but sometimes kindness requires you to hold back, to put boundaries, to put borders. If somebody just allowed their children to do whatever they wanted, then that would of course not be very kind. If I allowed my child to run and play inside the traffic, that's obviously careless, not kind. At the same time, if we're only withholding, if we're only putting out boundaries and borders, we'd never be able to connect with somebody else. It would be a very harsh existence, a very difficult existence. So a relationship needs the harmony of that, and that's tiferet. We have netzach, we have the concept of overcoming challenges, overcoming obstacles. We have hod, we have the concept of humility and being willing to, allow someone else to get their space within your space. We have yasod, the ability to connect with one another, to be there with one another, and of course Malchut, which is really the ability to give over to somebody else, to take those attributes and then relate it to the other person. And there's varying levels of describing those 7 emotional attributes. So the bride, really, who is as Torah describes it, she is the source of bringing, in a sense, blessing to the home. Very powerful, the feminine attributes. So she circles the Chatan. She brings this force around the home. She brings this protective boundary, if you like, encircling those 7 spheres that hopefully that their marriage will be encircled in a beautiful way with those 7 emotional attributes. We also have, of course, the concept of creation. Adam and Eve were the first human beings created, and of course the world was created 6 days of work, and on the 7th day Hashem rested. And so the bride circles 7 times to, in a sense, recreate creation. But what is being created this time is their new world, because before they were 2 separate entities, 2 separate people, but now under the chuppah they become one. So they in fact are now creating their own world. So circling 7 times is saying, here's our new world together. We're starting this world together. We're going to build this new world together. And of course, that's something very, very special and beautiful, where the couple sees themselves as now being part of creation. And you need to bring that 7th day. You need to bring the day of Shabbat, the final circle of Shabbat. There needs to be that rest and comfort. There's also a concept of 7 heavens, and it says Hashem dwells in the 7 heavens. And of course, we are bringing the essence or the energy of these 7 heavens into the chuppah as well. So very beautiful. Of course, the chuppah itself, as we know, is not walled in. And one of the famous reasons given why it's not walled in and why it's open from all sides is because we want to emulate the way of Abraham and Sarah, not the first human beings, but the first Jewish couple. Avram and Sarah, their home was out there in the middle of the desert. They didn't, encircle themselves and close themselves in. They were there to help those coming past, those who were traveling, who needed a place to drink, a place to eat, a place to rest. And each Jewish home, we hope, will be founded on those foundations. And so the very first home, being the chuppah, which in fact should belong to the groom, represents that we tell the couple, saying that our home is going to be based on those foundations, that if somebody needs us, if somebody needs a shoulder to cry on, if somebody needs a meal to eat, we'll be open. We won't be closed off. And so that's the very first home. We do drink wine under the chuppah twice. And wine, again, symbolizes something very special. We always drink a glass of wine at joyous occasions in Judaism, at a Brit Milah, at a Surat Mitzvah. On Shabbat we make Kiddush, and here is no different. It's a very special and joyous moment for the couple. There's also 2 ideas with wine. One is that wine has a special feature about it, which is quite rare in this world, and that is that the longer you wait, the better it becomes. An aged wine is a very beautiful wine. It's a very tasty wine. And so we're telling the couple that whilst hopefully they're experiencing tremendous joy now and their connection is strong, it's only the beginning. And hopefully their love and emotion and respect for one another matures and develops and grows and becomes stronger as each day passes by. A nice Hasidic concept that the word Geffen, which is of course the vine, has 3 letters, which is Gimel for Gesund, health, Parnassah is livelihood, and Nachas, that they should give joy to their parents, to their family, and hopefully bring children into the world, which will give them a lot of Nachas as well. So we drink wine, we make the blessing on the wine. We also have a ring. The ring, the 2 witnesses need to see that the ring is being placed on the bride's finger, and one of the concepts or customs is to have an unadorned ring. So firstly, we don't have a big diamond on it, although she can receive or she can get a diamond from her husband at the yichud room at any time. But under the chuppah specifically, it's a very legal thing that's occurring. I'll talk about more of the spiritual side as well, but he gives her a ring that's unadorned and without that diamond, because we don't want there to be what we call a mekach toes, where there's I guess they would suggest that it was sold under false pretenses. So if you give a ring and all of a sudden the bride sees this ring and she thinks, I've got this beautiful carat diamond ring, and then turns out it's just plastic, she may say, well, I only accepted the ring and this marriage. Obviously, people are not that coarse, but it is halachically and legalistically required to say that maybe it was only under those pretenses. So we give a very simple plain ring, so there can be no question as to what was given and what was accepted. the groom does say a special line. He says to the bride, "Harei at mekudeshet li b'tabat zuket at Moshe v'Yisrael." Behold, you are betrothed to me with this ring, according to the laws of Moses and Israel. Why those words? So I have seen a beautiful thing which I do mention under Chuppahs, and if you count the letters in that line, there's 32, and the number 32 in the Hebrew language is lev, heart. So whilst, as I mentioned, there is this legal concept about it, it's also a very spiritual and romantic gesture that's going on, that they're dedicating each other's hearts to one another. Just very quickly, because we are running out of time, breaking of the glass. At the end, the chassan breaks the glass, and we know that it once again reminds us of the temple in Israel, that it's destroyed. It also reminds us of the breaking of the luchot. Moses broke the first set. It was the marriage of the Jewish people and Hashem, so we also break it to remind us, I guess, of what, that yes, maybe there was a mistake, but there is chance for redemption. We have the second set of luchot, and things can always improve, and if things do break, don't let it put you down. Remember that there is a chance for a second set. We can always work to improve and fix things. And finally, one idea that I usually mention is that breaking of the glass, you think about it, here you have a special, they put so much work and effort, and all of a sudden you do something which seems damaging and destructive. But really it symbolizes that whilst there's so much joy in your life, don't ever forget that there's someone else out there who is struggling. Today we have to experience that firsthand. We know that we might have supplies, but somebody else might not. So if you have something extra, or if you're able to assist somebody to get something extra, that's what the bride and the groom are saying at their chuppah. Yes, we're happy, but we're not going to forget anybody else who needs help. So yes, I know there are a lot more things we can learn together in terms of a chuppah, but tomorrow we will start a new subject. I will announce that tomorrow, and look forward to seeing you again for day 4. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Keep smiling, and may Hashem bless you all with only goodness and kindness.